episode of We Are the Bonsai Supply. I am Jerome, and today we're going to work on a root over statue. So welcome to my new studio. I hope you like it. And today we're going to do a root over statue. So number one, you want to take a statue that can age. What I mean by that is you want to get a statue that's not made out of resin or plastic. You want to get something that's either made out of stone that can like wither a little bit. Clay, of course, if you can find one. That's very difficult to find. I love terracotta, like those terracotta warriors that I got from China, and I put a tree on top, like Angkor or its little brother, larger brother, Xi'an. Those guys are made out of terracotta, and they age really, really well. So they start out black, and then as they age, they get some white lines in between, and they start to lighten up a little bit. So it's actually really cool. Concrete also works quite well, so that's a good statue to use as well. I chose these two trees to choose from. I have a Chinese elm and a tiger bark ficus. So when creating a root over statue, you have to know that some trees attach to a statue or a rock much faster than other species do. So depending if you want to create a statue very fast, you would want to go with something like a ficus versus something like a elm. So this is a statue that I chose. It was a present from a friend of mine. His name is Anthony. Thank you, Anthony, for this. I think it's really cool. This is a four-face Buddha. So on each side, he makes a different face. This is my statue, and these two are my trees. Now, both of these trees are online on our website now as well. So I thought I'd choose one of the species that we also sell on the website. So here I could go either way. I could use the Chinese elm, because Chinese Buddha, right? This is the laughing Buddha. So I could use a Chinese elm, or I could use a tiger bark ficus. So the next step is very important because I have to marry these two guys. So I have to put the statue, the tree on top of the statue. And the way that I attach it today is going to determine on what the end product is going to look like. So what's really cool about the statue is that it has four different fronts, so to speak. So what I want to do with this tree is I want to create something very, very challenging. I want to create a root over statue, of course, that has four fronts. So my idea is to have a tree that swallows the entire statue, where the roots run down on the side of the faces, and it actually starts to, the root structure starts to spread, and the tree actually swallows the entire statue. But I still want to have, so that you can still see all the faces a little bit from every angle, right? So I want to have to put the tree pretty much dead on top, and I have to make sure that it will look good from every angle. So for this job, I think I'm going to go with the tiger bark ficus, just because of the end product that I have in mind. So the reason why I'm going to use this is because I want to have the tree swallow the statue, and I want the tree to be no taller than this. And I want the tree to be very heavy, a very heavy canopy, and to have aerial roots. Imagine how cool that would look. So now here's a couple of ingredients that we need to create a root over statue. So number one, we need a turntable, of course, right? A bucket with water. We need some good soil. We need saran wrap. And we need a pot that the tree will go into. And then we need some sphagnum moss as well. And then, of course, since we're working with moss, you always want to make sure that you wear gloves, especially sphagnum moss. This is a pumpkin little tub. I used it from Halloween. At Halloween, this is going to be the candy bowl, and now it's going to be my moss bowl. So I take some moss, and for this job, you can really use any type of moss. But I find that the sphagnum moss or the sheep moss works the best. I want to soak the moss in this water so that it can really absorb it. So the next step, we need to remove the soil from this tree, and we're going to have to remove as much of the old black soil as we can, because we want to place this tree on top of this statue as well as we can. So in order to do that, we need to see what we're working with. So you need to make sure you remove all the soil here. So that's why, because the reason why I choose a young tree like that is actually very important, because once a tree is set on top of the statue, I'm going to let this grow uncontrolled for about a year, depending on the species of course, but this guy for about a year, maybe a little more, until the tree has thickened up, because you let the top grow so that the bottom can grow as well. The more the top grows, the more the bottom grows as well. And as these branches get longer and they start to sway in the wind, what's going to happen is that it thickens up the trunk so much faster, and it's going to attach the tree to the statue so much faster as well. I used aluminum wire first to attach the tree to the statue. I'm not going to worry about where the roots fall, because I just want the roots to attach to the statue. And once I remove, because we're going to cover this with moss after, so once I remove the moss, I'm going to do my root selection. So I'm going to remove the roots that grow straight over the faces, or maybe it'll look really cool, so maybe I'll keep them. I'll show you. So I'm just going to attach them. Once they have attached and grown all over the statue, I can remove them and keep the ones that I want to keep. Right now, it wouldn't matter if I chose the roots that I want to keep, because once I wrap it with moss, the moss is going to grow, the roots are going to grow like crazy everywhere. So there's a couple different ways to do that. At this point, I could bury the statue like this inside the pot, and the roots will naturally attach to the statue. With this species, it's not necessary. Wrapping the statue in moss will be just good enough. But if this was if I were to use a Chinese elm here, I would have probably buried the statue in here, just because a Chinese elm is not as rapidly growing as this is, and the roots don't attach as fast as this one does. So I would bury it in here so that the roots can grow like crazy with the entire statue, and then I will go back in and remove and keep whatever I want to. So at this point, I'm going to take my moss that has now nicely been soaked, and I just squeeze out all the water excess here. And it's important that you, at this stage, use some really good soil. And of course, I use our all-purpose soil mixture, which is made out of lava rock, calcine clay, pumice, and pine bark. And so, I'm going to place a tree on top, and I'm just going to whip it down. There we go. So now I'm going to have to tie it down, and I'm going to crisscross the tie down, so that I can push the wires from two directions against the statue so that this will not fall over. So now that the whole thing is wrapped in a clear wrap form, I'm going to take a wire and just poke a few holes in it, because when I water, I want the water to be able to run down and wet the moss. So I planted the tree pretty straight in the center, especially the base, because remember I want to make a kind of a banyan style tree, so I'm going to go off with that. And so now I'm just going to place this tree into the shade and wait until it starts to grow on top, and then I'm going to go ahead and move it out into full sun. So the next step here, I'm going to water this tree. I'm going to place it into the shade. Once I see new growth on the tree, I'm going to place it out into full sun. And I'm not going to worry too much about the branches at this point. I'm just going to let the tree grow on top so that the roots can attach. Now next time when I repot this tree, I'm going to pot it into this pot right here, which is our rich caramel pot. This pot came off of our new shipment. Make sure you go check out the pots on the website. They're super cool. So this is going to go in here. I think the rich caramel glaze is going to go really well with the statue. So this is pretty much it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video as well as my new studio. So for next week, I wanted to try something a little different. I know you guys have a lot of questions, so I want you guys to write all the questions that you have in general, not just about this video. Any question, bonsai question related, please. Write them in this video as comments, and in next week's video, I'm going to try to respond as many questions as I can. So I hope to see you guys next week. Catch you guys next time.